Hi, thanks for joining me for this week's episode of Quick Business Tips. I'm Jennifer Swineford, and today we are going to talk about anti-marketing. Now, before you paint a picture for yourself of burning down billboards and deleting all your social media accounts, let me clarify a little bit. Anti-marketing isn't about rejecting marketing altogether. It's about rejecting the noise, the aggressive sales tactics, and the constant barrage of buy now messages that turn your customers completely off. Anti-marketing is about prioritizing authentic connection with real people over the relentless self-promotion, sleazy, salesy, slimy tactics. In today's market, trust is at an all-time low, and everybody is bombarded with thousands of ads every day. So marketing that we did 10, even 5 years ago just doesn't work anymore. And that's why it's time for anti-marketing. Let's get real nitty-gritty on the social media aspect of this. The problem with traditional social media marketing, it's a lot of post and ghost when it comes to what small businesses are doing today. They have bought into the belief that they need to be posting multiple times a day on every single platform, and they are spending hours just churning out content, or they're relying on AI to do it for them. But here's the truth. If you are running a business, you don't possibly have time to be putting out content like that on all those different platforms without burning yourself out. And the good news is that that type of post and ghost multiple times a day across every single platform that's out there just really isn't effective. And here's why. That type of social media strategy is focusing on quantity over quality. And you end up just broadcasting thousands of messages into a complete void. And you hope that something sticks and someone converts into a buyer. But there's a better way. If you build genuine relationships with real people who are like the perfect center of the bullseye target market for your business, then you can really narrow down not only what platform you're on, but how many posts you're doing a week, and instead increase the number of interactions that you have with these real people. There's lots of business owners that I've talked to who have tried social media marketing in the past, and they said that they posted consistently, but maybe didn't stick with it for as long as they needed to when it comes to social media. And because they didn't see immediate results, they gave up. And they tell me social media doesn't work for their business. Or they have tried to automate engagement with comments and DMs using an AI piece of software. And that just comes across as inauthentic and robotic. And it just erodes any trust that you might be building with those people. So here's where anti-marketing is different. Anti-marketing is when you are prioritizing connection and relationship building over promotion and selling. By building relationships, fostering a real sense of community in your network, and providing genuine value, even if that value isn't directly tied to a sale. You can increase your revenue as long as you remain consistent with it over time. So think of it like this. Instead of constantly having like neon signs flashing, buy my stuff, you end up having conversations with people, real, normal, authentic conversations. You ask questions. You listen to what your target market is looking for, and you provide advice where you can. You end up building a foundation of trust and establishing yourself as the expert in your niche. And you become a valuable resource to your community. Now, this might sound counterintuitive. How can you constantly be spending so much time and not asking for sales? I'm not saying that you don't ever ask for sales, but you need to build a foundation where people like you, get to know you, and have trust built with you. And by building these type of very genuine, authentic relationships, you are going to create a loyal base in your community. And those people are going to want to reciprocate by purchasing or making referrals to your services and products. So this might sound nice in theory, but how do you really put anti-marketing into practice? And if you boil it down to just one thing, the foundation that all anti-marketing is built on, the answer is you have to ask questions and really listen to the answers. Stop treating social media like a one-way megaphone where you are just shouting into the void, and start using it as this two-way conversation street. Ask the very targeted audience that you want to wake up and work with every single day. Ask them about their challenges, their goals, their fears, their frustrations, what they're struggling with, and what they're really passionate about, even if it has nothing to do with the sale that you are trying to make. And when they respond to your questions, you need to listen. Really listen. Don't just wait for them to say some key phrase so you can jump in with oh, I can solve that problem with my product or with my service. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. Don't try to shoehorn your product or service into the conversation. Instead, just have a normal conversation like you would with anybody else. Acknowledge what they're saying, offer thoughtful responses that may or may not have anything to do with what you're trying to sell, and show them that you genuinely care about them as a person. So LinkedIn is a great example of where you can build relationships over time. I see so many business owners making the mistake of treating LinkedIn like a cold pitch platform. They connect with someone and immediately send a generic sales pitch. I know you've seen it if you spent any time on LinkedIn. I see it time and time again. Connect with someone and immediately get a message from them that is like 3, 4 paragraphs long, telling me exactly how they can help me with their service. And don't I want this free sales call with them? Well, no, I don't. They haven't even taken the time to get to know me and find out if I am experiencing the problem that they're trying to solve. It's a huge turnoff. It's like walking up to a stranger in a bar and shoving your business card in their face, or walking up to a complete stranger and wrapping your arms around them in a hug. It doesn't matter how good, it doesn't matter what place your heart's coming from. It just comes off as weird and creepy and like, sorry, no, get away, right? But if you instead take the anti-marketing approach, connect with people and genuinely listen to them, care about where they are, what their needs are, and just them as a human being. Read their posts, find out what's going on in their life, leave comments on their posts, and ask questions in those comments. Not only just in the comment itself, but ask questions about other people that are to other people that are commenting in their posts. Um, This will allow you to build a rapport with the person before you even start thinking about talking about the services that you offer. And when you go about it this way, you become a trusted connection, not just another cold sales pitch. I can tell you firsthand that this anti-marketing approach works. When I started being very intentional about my social media engagement, especially with my personal brand, I saw amazing results far faster than I really should have. And I will tell you, in most cases, I tell my clients this all of the time, you are 6 to 9 months before you feel like you're gaining any traction at all when it comes to social media. Now, because I had been on social media for a long time and I'd been building my business brand, I was able to parlay those connections and referral partners, and I saw results in less than a month. Again, this is highly unusual. It normally takes much, much longer, and you have to be crazy consistent about it. But now I have connections, referral partners. I've attracted new clients that come from the complete unknown and drop into my DMs asking to have a conversation with me about my services. I even signed one of my largest contracts in 2024 through the videos that I post regularly on social media. And the crazy part was this person had been silently observing my post for 6 to 9 months. And I didn't know about it until they brought me in for the sales conversation. They had never liked, commented, shared, or even gave me any inkling that they were paying attention to anything I was posting. But when they were finally ready to invest in the marketing services that I provide, I was the first person that they thought of because I was consistently providing them value, and I had built this trust over months and months and months as they were basically researching my brand. And it's not just me. I see this with my other clients. Again, it takes time. 3, 6, 9 months, depending on where you're starting on social media and how you're going to go about it and how consistent you are. But I see 30, 40, 50% increase in revenue just by being consistent and having a strategy that works with social media. Building relationships, while it feels like it's going to take a long time, it is so much easier than chasing sales. So let's get real practical and into the nuts and bolts and give you some tips for how to put anti-marketing into action starting today. First, we have the 80-20 rule, which I'm sure you've all heard about from time to time. We're going to use it just a little bit differently. 80% of the time spent on social media should be spent engaging with other people's content, and only 20% should be creating your own content, posting, and, responding to any of your comments that don't dig deeper into the relationship. So think about how you're spending your time on social media. Are you even at 50-50 yet? Or are you spending 80% of your time creating your stuff, posting your stuff, making sure it gets out there, and only 20% talking to other people? If you flip that script and you spend 80% of your time engaging with other people's content, you will see a rapid change. And this change happens far faster on LinkedIn than any other platform out there. As a matter of fact, I've had people test it where they don't even post hardly at all, maybe once a week, but they engage daily for at least an hour with other people's content, and they still see their engagement and their sales calls go way through the roof. The second thing that you can do starting today is to ask more open-ended questions. So instead of commenting something super generic like great post, fantastic advice, 100% agree, ask a question in the comments. For example, you can say, I love what you said about this thing that they just talked about in their post. And then ask the question, what's the biggest change you've seen from implementing this in your business? Or what's the biggest challenge you've seen as you've been starting to implement this in your business? And start having an actual conversation with someone. The third tip is super easy. Simply respond to every single comment anyone makes on your post. This lets them know that you are listening and that you value your input. So I know a lot of my clients are all about liking the comments, but then they kind of drop the ball after that. It is super valuable, both from the logarithm standpoint and from just the human standpoint, to respond to the comment. And if it makes sense, ask a question when you respond to somebody's comment. Next, you can join relevant groups. And this is where you're going to have to dig a little deeper. Are the groups active? What kind of posts are happening in the groups? But if you're willing to invest a little bit of time doing the research on the front end, you can get involved in some really great groups where you're able to share your expertise freely, answer questions, build that relationship with the foundation of trust, and end up turning some of those relationships into paying clients. Also, don't be afraid to be authentically you. You are a human selling to a human. They are a human buying from a human. It's okay to share your personality, be vulnerable, share some of your struggles, your successes, your clients' successes, because people like connecting with other real people. You know, if we wanted to work with robots, we have that option. So be you. And the last tip that I have for you is to be helpful. If you cannot directly answer their question, become a connector. Grow your network to a place where you can say like, hey, I don't have expertise in this area, but I know someone who does. They are a great person. They have a great heart for their customers, and you can really trust what they say. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, this sounds great, but I don't have the kind of time it's going to take to invest in this anti-marketing effort that you're touting. I get it. Everybody's busy, especially if you're running a business. But you cannot afford to miss this. I started being intentional about my social media about 2 years ago, and it has completely changed how I do business. This is an investment in your time and your money. It's not just an expense. If you start building relationships today, I guarantee they will pay off down the road. And you don't have to spend hours on social media. You can literally boil this down to 20 and 30 minutes every single day and make a huge difference in your bottom line. So don't forget that anti-marketing is really just a mindset shift more than anything else. It's about moving away from that transactional, buy it now, me focused approach and turning it into this relationship building, audience driven approach. Anti-marketing is about recognizing that your audience is made up of real people that have real needs, real problems, and real dreams. And when you connect with them on that level, you build something far more valuable than just a sale. You build a community of loyal fans. So, are you ready to embrace the new anti-marketing revolution that I'm starting? Are you ready to step out and start having conversations instead of shouting into the void? I want to help you. I would love to sit down with you and have a real quick strategy session to see where you are and where your holes might be in your social media so we can fill those easily and you can start seeing results right away. You can book your free session using the link in the show notes. That's all for this week's quick business tips. I hope you found this helpful and actionable. Until next week, I'm Jennifer Swineford with Limitless Impact Agency.